Well, it's today. I'm going to do like a quick guide on the new. Riot just buffed Viego mid by a lot, so I think you guys, some of you will probably want to try it out. So just going to do like a fast recap on how to play him mid, like runes and build. First of all, let's check the buffs. Like they reduce the attack speed growth by a bit. They buff Q damage, crit multiplayer. They nerf it by 25%. So crit Viego is going to be a bit worse. Then they remove the bonus damage to monsters, just to make this a buff to Viego mid, but say the same on jungle. Then they double mark minion healing to 100%, which is what they had in release. They reduce monster healing and then they buff champ healing. So this champ and minion healing and even the damage is what we are going to be looking as laner Viego. This attack speed growth thing is not the biggest thing because we are going to rush attack speed items, so we will not really like feel it because you axe E second as well, so I don't think this will matter a lot, but this is very big. So first of all, I'm going to go into the runes. Like the main Viego page is going to look something like this. Lane, okay. Mostly because Conqueror is just the best Viego rune that we can have, so we will pretty much go for this rune every game. But there will be some games where we actually want to like change secondaries, no? Because if we are just like a melee champ, we can like actually take one plating if he cannot take it very easily from us. Unflinching is also a very good rune versus champs that actually trade with you with CC. Something like Alexandra. This rune will give you a lot of combat power. I wouldn't really recommend Revitalize, but if the sustain thing is that broken, maybe it's even worth taking Overgrowth because we will heal a lot, not only on the passive on the minions, on the champ as well, and then if we go crit, we will take the shield bow or the Borg. So actually, Revitalize may be worth considering, but I'm not really sure because I haven't tested. So then second one versus range, pound plating if they cannot take it easily, and the rest is just, I don't know, you can maybe consider Demolish in some games where the enemy laner will do nothing, but Viego is a melee champ that has not a very good escape tool, so I wouldn't recommend. Then we can take scaling or base depending on the matchup, I guess, and the rest will just stay the same. For mid, we will always take Triumph IMO because there will always happen skirmishes. You love to skirmish as Viego, and this rune just fits very well, but Absorb Life is like we can take it in some matchups, but I think I would mostly recommend this for top lane. Okay, this is like mid lane runes. For top lane runes, it's basically the same, but you could take Absorb Life unless you are versus something like a Darius where Triumph will actually get some value, because you maybe kill him and then you die to bleed, so versus Darius will take Triumph. Then the rest, you will always take Alacrity. Cut down can be taken, Cope can be taken, depending on the games, but Last Stand just very good rune and very clutch rune when you start taking resets and get hit and then you deal more damage. I don't know, I'll just take Last Stand, but Cut down is very good as well, especially mid lane, because champs on mid lane when they are like low, they will probably base or they are pretty fucked. So, but yeah, Last Stand in general. Then for secondary, as I said, then we could also on some very easy matchups we could take something like this, like in a Katarina matchup, where nothing like here is useful, or even like something like I don't know, something like this or this. But I would not recommend this because flash is not that important on Viego, but biscuits are pretty OP for lane. But I'll just take something like this in like bad matchups, and then this in good matchups. Sorcery is whatever on Viego, and then the secret page, which I wouldn't recommend a lot because it's just like a bit greedy. But yeah, something like this is like we would take on the build I will show you later that runs collector first. This is like an assassin cheesy mid lane Viego build, but I will not recommend it a lot. I'll just go the classic like this and just move on like this. Okay, now for the items. So we will have a second. I'm pretty sure I saved it. So for the starting items, we will go basically Doran Blade into melees that we can fight and auto, or D-Shield into like most range matchups. Maybe we'll take like D-Shield into Akali. Akali is pretty hard matchup as well. Or some matchups where we will not really be able to fight back, but yeah, mostly deep blade into melee. Also cool, it's something worth mentioning, but I think your champ wants to like fight a lot early game, but maybe in a top matchup where nothing happens and this shield is not needed because you already have like your passive and second wind, so yeah, worth to mention. Then your first item will always be one of these 5. So yeah, we have Kraken, Borg, Trinity, Junta, and Collector. For Collector, it's basically the build I told you before with Halo Blades. I will show you later. But let's start with Kraken. Kraken is what we have, like you have been using until now on Viego mid. You can see. I also already played it before the patch because I'm a Viego mid player. And the classic build was to go like Kraken into shield bow, something like this. Kraken into shield bow into LDR or IE, and then some pressure items or GA. So yeah, Kraken will be the first item in a lot of games. This was the best build before. Not sure if it will be now because I think with the sustain changes, there's a Borg build that will show up very big. But for now, this was the best build. Then Borg, the same. This item is just very good. It allows us to buy a Vampiric Scepter as well. Very good build path. We get a lot of sustain. I don't know. Just overall very good. Kraken is more like a roam snowball style. Then Trinity, I wouldn't recommend now because these items are just much stronger. But I know there's some matchups, maybe something like a Kiana or an Akali, where if you don't buy HP first item, you cannot play. And you need attack speed on your first item. So this is the only option left. Then Yuntal and Collector. First Collector, you have the Halo Blades cheese build. But you also have the option that One Trick on Korea was doing. He used to go both items and he would choose what he goes first based on his vehicles. So if he had vehicles for Collector, he would go Collector first and then Yuntal. If he had vehicles for Yuntal, he would go Yuntal first with a serrated Dirk and then Collector. You know, these two I will show you now. So yeah, like Yuntal is very good on Viego, just very good stats for him, and you charge it passive really fast with the double auto of Viego. So yeah, like pretty good option. Also full damage crit item, pretty good attack speed as well. For the lack of the Collector attack speed, yeah. Then for boots, we are mostly going to go Tabis or Mercs, pretty much every single game. Games where these boots are not good, we are pretty much going to like stay on base boots. Swiftness are worth to mention, especially if you get fits, because the upgrade gives you AD, so it's like the only boots that actually give you AD. You know, these boots. This one gives you AD, so pretty good. And Viego is really vulnerable to CC, so like slows. And then Berserkers, I just mentioned them because of the Collector build, but never go them unless you go Collector Halo Blades. And even then, I'm not sure how good they are. So this is the best pressure items Viego has for now. And the best crit items you can go. PD only if you actually sell the boots for them. But yeah, just so you see the actual options, like random into crit, Kinetic into AP burst. This one as last item if you want some HP items. The rest, it's just pretty obvious. So for the top lane builds, this would be like a top lane Breezer example, where you just start with the Borg versus maybe something like a tank or some Bruiser, where you actually that he's not really squishy, you maybe want the HP damage and that. Then Sundered Sky, this item is one of the best second options on Viego. This item just provides you a lot of HP, good AD, and a lot of like sustain on the auto. And now with the buffs on the passive healing, it will be even much bigger. Then DD, Sterax for the tenacity and the shield. And GA will pretty much be the last item for every build because this champ builds really aggressively. But if he dies, he's fucked. So just very good option, last item for most of the builds. Then we have the top lane on hit. If you are playing versus a tank or a champ that doesn't really do a lot of damage, you can maybe do something like a Borg first, Kraken second, or Kraken first even for like more snowball or more squishy killing, and then do something like a Black Cleaver to shred the armor. This is more like a team fighting option. If you could also do something like a Terminus, but I haven't tested it. I know the best build some patches ago for Viego mid was Borg with Terminus, like full on hit, but I didn't test it a lot. I know Black Cleaver is good, but it's mostly for like team fight. So if you are going to like side lane only, you should probably go LDR instead of Black Cleaver. But Black Cleaver also gives you the HP, so I don't know, you just have to consider it. Then Witsend, very good as well versus AP. You like double proc the passive with the passive. And then we have the mid lane crit example I was telling you before, where you go like Will you will go Kraken, and then for second item you can go either Collector or Shieldbow. I think Shieldbow is just much better. Curves much better as well because you will go like LDR third and or IE depending on their armor, and then you can actually build some defensively. So this is probably the best build. You should like look at doing this mostly every game. Then the build I said I think is probably going to be the best. Maybe I'm not sure. Borg is just the most stable first item if you play Viego versus human players, but less skirmish power and yeah. But Kraken also skills worse, so just play different builds. There's like an early skirmish build. This is like a mid-late, more like Bruiser build. And then the Sundered Sky, this item is just crazy. As you see, I can also fit a Shieldbow here, even if I'm not doing more crit. The item is just very good, and the crit just gives you a lot of damage. But you could also like put a Sterax here instead of a Shieldbow. And then Witsend, DD. Then the Triforce build, I think this build is much worse now, as I said, but worth to mention in case you need the HP on the first item. And then the classic Collector, Shieldbow, IE, blah, blah. You know, IE or LDR, depending on the enemy comp. But mostly LDR actually, not IE. But then the build I was telling you, you go Juntal or Collector first, depending on your bases. And then you go like full crit. And then the Halo Blades build where you go Collector with Halo Blades, Shieldbow, IE, and then yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the runes and the build. If you have any doubt, you just tell me in the comments. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. Like also pretty similar to jungle, except for like maybe some bruiser build or some on-hit build, because Viego jungle can work like as an assassin with the crit build, or as a bruiser engager with the bruiser build. But in lane, you mostly play as an assassin or as a side laner. So yeah. If you guys like the guide, I can go a bit more into the laning and all that, or some matchups and things, but it's just in case you guys try it out, you can already know what to build and what to take on runes. Thanks for watching.